All right, everybody. Professor Bobo here, welcoming you to the Season 5 caster meeting. We are no longer starting soon. We are live. I am your head caster. I am joined tonight by the production manager, 7th Days. And I am also joined by the creative lead crow. Gentlemen, say hello. Say hello to the people.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Good evening, guys.
We're doing a podcast style.
Fantastic.
Let everybody rip.
Podcast is great, by the way.
Thank you.
Check it out.
Oh, hey. Shameless self-plug. Okay. So for Season 5, we're making a number of changes. Nothing too drastic, but a lot of this is just about clarifying what we're going to do for the season. We're also going to talk about some of the things we're going to try to add, including the monthly caster meeting, and we've added some new roles. We're going to touch on some highlights with the rulebook. We're obviously not going to go through all of it, but we will touch on some of the important ones. The caster rulebook is live in the pins on the website. Everything has been approved. Check it out. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to slide on into my DMs. We will talk about the scheduling procedure for season number 5, which really hasn't changed very much. And we will introduce the season 5 crow relays. As the creative team brings us the tools which we will employ out in the greater broadcasting world, if you will. We'll talk a little bit about cartography, just to give an overview for everyone who is hoping to maybe get their hands on this software here in season number 5, as it does have a number of very important uses and a couple of requirements. We want to make sure that everyone who is interested has an opportunity to check it out. We'll talk about some tips and tricks, and then we will go ahead and answer questions. So just making a couple of updates here on slide numero uno. I just want to let you guys know what my goals are for the season. We have already established our caster rulebook, and we're working on a number of different features. So there at the end you will see the NGS game of the week. We are going to have a go at this with a full production team. Details will be forthcoming, but our target date is the 3rd week, or the beginning of the 2nd round. We will use caster, co-caster. We're also going to go ahead and make sure that we have an observer on hand, full production team. We're going to really try to put on a very cool show for the people. Caster roles, I know everybody's very interested in that. How do I graduate from being a caster hopeful to a full-fledged caster? We will go over that. We will also talk about our new co-caster role and the newly created overlord/veteran caster role. One thing that we are going to look to employ for the season is a monthly meeting. It may not always be a month on the dot. We may come at you guys with information in bits and pieces, and then maybe find out that the community has a couple of questions to answer. So the monthly meeting is just going to be an open place for us to go ahead and do a different number of things. We will also just run it VOD style, I would anticipate. We'll go over any rulebook changes, anything that we feel like needs to be amended during the season. And one big key about this is that I report, obviously, to the admin team. You guys report to me, but I also report to the casting community. So if we find that we need to make a change to either the rulebook, the way we go about things, if there's a concern, if people want to bring some issues up, I will always be available, and the monthly meeting is where I would really like to address any large concerns, and maybe we can try to come to a consensus and make important decisions as a team. We'll also maybe show off some interesting creative developments and outside opportunities. As many of you know, we ran 2 outside events during the off-season. I think I saw that Taw Yep was in there, so obviously everyone knows one of them was the Taw Open, and the other one, if you, I don't know, were sleeping or under a rock for the last 2 weeks, we had the Regen Invitational Part 2, as Murda ran an absolutely amazing experience, and we all had a great time doing that. That was pretty sweet. We want to keep our casters abreast of opportunities in that area. And then just a side note about creative developments, and if we need staff, we'll talk about staff. If our staff has something to present you, that would absolutely be the place. I know we've already discussed some interesting topics that we obviously don't have the time or the ability to instruct you guys with yet, but if we have something that we want to bring to the casters and maybe show you guys off some of the different ways that we do things the way that we do, then we would use that as an opportunity. Mongoose, what's happening? I see you there. Did you miss everything? Yes. Absolutely everything. All right. Clarifying the caster roles. So for this season, we have given a promotion to a number of casters. These are the veteran casters. This was something that the admin team and I came together, and these are casters that we feel like best represent NGS. You will recognize many of them for being here for multiple seasons. They have already surpassed expectations when we came to them with opportunities such, again, as the Tall Open 2 or the Region Invitational Numero Dos. Caster hopefuls, and this is the big one. I know a lot of people want to know what's going on this season. So, Caster hopeful is open to anyone. As you guys know, if you request the tag, you will receive the invite to the Caster channel. So, if you are interested in casting, ping me in the Caster sign up channel in the Discord, and I will go ahead and get you all set up. The rulebook will go into very fine details about what it is we're looking for from our caster hopefuls, but we are looking to gather 6 broadcasted matches from your own Twitch channel, upon which I will go ahead and pull a review. Yeah, twice. I put it there twice. It's definitely 6 broadcasted matches. I know this may seem like a lot. Let's just ignore the error that I made there. But you can get through 6 broadcasted matches in 2 weeks very, very easily. When you broadcast your matches, just ping me. Let me know where the location of these are, and I will go ahead and review them. We are looking for clean and clear streams, minimal to 0 lag or dropped frames. Your ability to cast just, sans commentary, sans anything, just having a nice, clean, clear show is going to be critical. If you're wondering what some of the requirements are in terms of bandwidth, there's actually the ability to test stream within Twitch so that you can try to find out whether or not you've got the rig to do it. Certainly, proper use of overlays. We'll be showing those off later. This will be critical. Our overlays are actually required scenes for our cast. We want you guys to use them. We do allow for personal logos in some spots as long as they're not interfering with the cast. We do not allow for outside sponsors or outside organizations to advertise their cast, but we do have a number of slides, and some of which are actually pretty versatile, and you can do a lot of different things. Is that AC really ripping? We'll just kill that sucker then. It's the first time that's happened. Thanks, Berta. Rip. And just to let you guys know, if I don't like what I see on your cast, I will let you know. I will give you good feedback. I'll tell you what you guys can go ahead and improve. Just because you broadcast 6 matches and maybe it's not, quite up to par with what we're looking for, it doesn't mean I'm just going to turn you down for the entirety of the season. I will let you guys know, and I will always be bouncing around in all of the broadcasts, just, taking a look, seeing who's on, who's casting what games, where they might need a little bit of advice, what they're doing well, in addition to that. Co-casters. Just created this, a permanent role. We're looking for 4 co-casted matches before we're going to go ahead and give you that co-caster tag. And when we talk about full opportunities, that means that co-casters can be employed in the playoffs. They can be employed in the game of the week. They can come with us to outside events as well. Co-casters, it's been something that we've long sort of sought to clarify, but we usually didn't have too many numbers. And every season we do see that there are a number of people that are, sort of pinging us. And they're letting us know, hey, I don't really have the ability to cast. I would like to be a co-caster, and we just haven't done enough for them in the past. So there is also a co-caster channel now in the Discord, and you can use the co-caster channel to just advertise, let guys know when you're available, and casters as well will connect and will ping for co-casters. We put some rules up in that channel as well. Again, let me know. 4 co-casted matches. It's the exact same things that we're looking for from a caster, just obviously without the broadcast itself. And for the rest of you guys, the rest of our NGS casters, is everybody that was previously approved. We did add a number of casters move up from the hopeful ranks, and we hope to do the same this season. And I know it's a little bit of a short section, but my goal this season is that everyone that wishes to improve, that wishes to get their hands on some of our more interesting tech, or would like to try to get in on a game of week, everyone who deserves it. And then when the playoffs, especially because they're expanding, everybody wants to do playoff games. We want to get you guys up to the level of caster that can help us out and can certainly be there for these games. All right, touching on some of the rulebook highlights. Caster conduct is pretty simple. I think everybody that has played for us or has watched one of our casts know that, as we like to keep it PG-13. We know that occasionally there are slips of the tongue, and sometimes you go a little off script. But look, just have fun. Be your own personality. Don't flame anybody, and don't be biased. And please don't be a robot. A lot of our casters are different. Ripper is different from Murda. Swing and Weenus do a very different show from when you get Crow and Beetle on. Whatever it is you want to bring to the table, bring it, man. We want everybody to have personality. We want you to build your audience. We want you to build your Twitch page. If you're a caster hopeful out there and you have just started with the Twitch, you should know that our casters, even our hopefuls, will usually get to affiliate within like 2 weeks. Really, all it takes is just a little bit of casting, and 25 follows. If somebody could just post like the requirements for Twitch affiliate in chat, that would be much appreciated. Is it 50 now? Okay, 50. Whatever, it comes really fast. You'll have like 15 casters that if they see you broadcasting, will just automatically just pop that follow. We'll get you that sub button right quick. A couple of guidelines for Twitch. Have the Nexus Gaming Series community listed on your Twitch page. I believe we pinned that in the caster chat today. I will double check that. Another important point. Set your broadcast to record, post, and tag your VODs. This is for a couple reasons. First off, if you're a hopeful, so that I can see what you're doing and I can approve you to be a caster. It's pretty important to record that stuff. Second, it's very important for our teams because our teams that play in your games want the live broadcasts just as much, we have often found, as they want just the raw replay files. Have the VODs. There is a place to tag and post your VODs as well. This way, listen, people who are interested in seeing what our casters are up to, just, again, if they just missed a game and they want to go back and catch it, it's there. So again, record, post, and tag them. We'll be sure to do that. We don't want to lose any games, wink, wink. And again, be sure to have good audio quality, no background distractions, and a clean background presentation. Listen, you don't have to have high-end, expensive audio equipment, but please ditch the $20 3-year-old audio headset. A good headset, will do you well. You can just do audio recordings of yourself and check it out. You may actually already have the equipment on hand and not know it. When we talk about no background distractions and a clean background presentation, listen, when you're casting, we don't need loud animals, and we don't need TV in the background. We don't need people washing dishes on the telephone behind you. Please try to find a nice, quiet space for you to go ahead and cast. And when we say clean background presentation, we know that this is my cat's one show. Cats are fine. Yeah, that's fine. Crow is visited once a cast by his cat, who crawls up on the keyboard and is a cute little baby. And hello, Mr. Kitty Cat. But clean background presentation. If you don't have a green screen, that's fine. We don't require you to have one. That would just be kind of silly. But whatever it is that is behind you, maybe it's a running AC unit, just make sure that it's presentable. There's nothing that's going to violate the Twitch guidelines. Make sure you clean your room, and nobody's going back and forth behind you. Just, again, try to keep it nice and tight. A couple other highlights from the rulebook. This is just to reaffirm: no outside spectators, referees, or friends that want to watch. This happens occasionally where someone will ask if a friend can view the game. Well, that's what your Twitch page is for. Don't let anybody in if you don't know who they are. This also counts for just any non-co-caster. If a coach wants to watch a game, he can watch the replay file, or he can log into your Twitch page. Okay, it's the same thing for anybody who claims to, or is rather a manager, a coach, or an analyst. Keep the broadcast to yourself, your co-caster, and if you are so fortunate, a production team. Casters are not permitted to schedule games for teams. Just something to clarify for the schedule. We want teams to do it. It puts the onus on captains as much as it allows us to make sure that casters are not abusing the rules and ensuring that they sort of snipe games in such a way. Repeatedly dropping games may be subject to restrictions. Listen, stuff happens in real life. You you may schedule a couple of games, 2 games a night or 1 game a night, and then something comes up and you can't quite do it. Please let us know in the caster chat. So if someone would like that game, they can pick it up. But listen, if you find that you are repeatedly having to drop games, police yourself. Back off of your own scheduling. Also, I actually do recommend that when you feel good about your cast and you feel good about using the tools at your disposal, double headers are great, man. Triple headers almost never work out. Don't try to stress yourself out with a lot of scheduling and a lot of changes and setups. Just stick to the doubles. We do have some scheduling changes here for season number 5, but one thing that is not going to change here in the early part of the season is that we are going to use the same team-up calendar from season 4. There is also, I believe, a pinned message Cersei posted about using the filters there in the team-up calendar. The calendar is very simple. It has a number of different filters for each division, and we'll show you a picture of that, but just as games go ahead and populate in the schedule, you will have plenty to pick from this season. We are adding a bit of a rule change, and this involves the top 2 divisions, Storm Division and Heroic Division, and what we call pre-scheduling. This was a big change in the rules. And this may be something that people may have read and were a little bit confused about. So I just want to go ahead and explain my methodology, because one of the largest complaints that we had last season was that people felt like they were not able to get the opportunity to cast heroic games. And just to be clear, no one violated the rules. No one did anything wrong. Again, there was nothing to be punished in that sense. But what did wind up happening is that, 3 casters had about 60% of the games from heroic. Fear has a question. Fear, if you have a question, just save it for the end. I have a list of questions. I will go through absolutely everything. But if you do ask it, Seventh will collect it, and then we'll go ahead and make sure that we have it there. But sorry, getting back to the heroic div. So the complaint was that people just felt like they couldn't really get games, and part of that problem actually had a lot to do with the fact that many of the people that were complaining were actually our players. A lot of our casters do not play; they're just here to cast and get their work in. But players were having a hard time scheduling. So what we're doing for this season is we're going to restrict the amount of games that you can schedule a week ahead. If you're a veteran caster, you will have the availability to make 4 pre-schedules for Storm Division, 3 pre-schedules for Heroic per round, or per 2-week period for those divs. So for casters, we have 3 and 2, 3 Storm, 2 Heroic, same setup. And then for caster hopefuls, you are allowed 4 pre-schedules across all divs except for Storm and Heroic. Another problem that we've had for a long time is people that will immediately come in and they will look to snap up as many high-level games as possible, and then they cannot meet expectations either on the broadcast, or they sort of flake out, or they forget, or they just do something critically wrong. So what we want you guys to do is get comfortable with casting, and we just want to try to protect just the integrity of those games a little bit, because there are always issues involving them. Now, one thing to always be aware of is that during the week of play, all games are open to be picked up. As soon as Monday comes around, from Monday through to Sunday, all games are free to be claimed. If you pick it up, it's your game. What we are talking about, yes, Mongoose SFA. Okay. What we're talking about, again, is just the top 2 divisions and the week before. And we want to see how this works. This is a result of me trying to figure out how to make sure that I'm not setting a maximum cap on any caster, and still make sure that everybody has some chance to pick these games up, because they are the ones that everybody wants to grab. This means that if let's just say every single game was on the schedule for the entirety of the round, it would mean that no veteran caster could claim more than about 15% of all Storm and Heroic games, and no caster could pre-schedule more than 10%. That doesn't count anything that isn't picked up, and it's free for the week. All right? Again, this is something that, again, we'll evaluate during the season. If you like it or you don't like it, please let me know. If you don't quite understand it and you need a little bit of clarification, let me know as well. Again, this is why, especially this set of rules are very important to me, because this is why I want to make sure that I have a monthly meeting, so that if we have an issue, or if we come to consensus as a community and we say, listen, this isn't working for this reason, we need to change this, or we just need to wipe the whole thing, we'll go ahead and we'll do it. Again, I work for you guys as well, and I know that this is a big change, and I want to make sure that we get this right. No matter what it is we all choose to do. So just to try to give a little bit better example of what pre-scheduling is going to look like, and again, I'll keep trying to clarify this as much as possible. So if you take a look at week 2 and 3, we're going to call that one round, right? So during what is week 1, That is the pre-schedule period for week 2. During week 2, it is the pre-schedule period for week 3, right? And after that, because that's just one round, all of those limitations get wiped, and then we move on immediately. And then we move on immediately to the next allowance of pre-schedules. Okay. Well, again, we'll keep working on it. But listen, if we're on the 16th on that Monday, all of the games during that week, free to be claimed. Grab them. Again, it is going to be a little confusing, but you have to remember that if you're a veteran caster or a caster, this only matters for Storm and Heroic. That's it. So just take things slow with those. I will be around, and we'll always seek to clarify. It will be not that difficult for me to enforce because of the tools that are available in Team Up. All right. Again, we're going to come back and we'll talk about this, again, as a group at the end. So I see a lot of the questions. And again, we will address every single one of them. I just want to show for everybody what the casting schedule will wind up look like on Team Up. This is the example of grabbing one of these games. So again, we're using the Team Up calendar from Season 4. If anything on the website changes, any of these functions change, we will update this. This is just a quick example. The teams themselves will figure out everything, but and then we'll go ahead and get everything set up in there, with the exception of the who, the where, the description, and then that casted tag. So if you go ahead and you check the tutorial there, you will see how this works. I think it was very effective last season. Didn't seem like anybody really violated the integrity of the schedule. If you are a caster hopeful and you're trying to find out exactly what goes in there, listen, you fill out the who, you've got your caster and your co-caster. Always put your Twitch page there so that, when the teams are looking at their game, they want to know who cast it. They can go ahead and let their friends and their fans know where the game is going to be. And if you need to put the description in there, if you need to put a note, go ahead. I don't remember exactly why I put this in there. I think, for example, this game was part of a doubleheader in which during the daytime, maybe one team had contacted me in the game before and said, we need to reschedule a little bit. Can we push this back? And I went ahead and, spoke with all the teams involved and said, all right, the game may be a little late for that reason. This is what the NGS caster schedule tends to look like. It is going to look a lot busier this season. Per round, there's 270 possible games. I know that's like a high max. I can't remember exactly how many because there are going to be some buys involved and whatnot. But, we're looking north of 250 games. If everybody gets their games scheduled, you can average 125 a week. That's absurd. So if you are wondering, well, am I going to be able to get a game with this many number of casters? Yes. You will be able to pick up games. There's quite a few. Last season we casted, I believe, like 60 to 70% of all games. So we didn't even hit everything.
Yeah, there are always more games to cast.
Mm-hmm. We never ever run out. You will notice that also, like, this can be a little difficult with the filters. One key filter here for the NGS caster schedule, if you look up in the top right corner, I know it's kind of small, you will see that I have this set for the 4-week view. If you're having trouble just reading the Team Up calendar, go ahead and change that filter. Try to figure out which one looks best for you. I always like the 4-week. I thought the 4-week was the best. Speaking of a wild crow, take it away, sir.
All right, yeah, it's my turn. We're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming new overlays for our casters and caster hopefuls. These will be available for absolutely everybody to use. I have the folder right here, and I'm actually dropping it in the caster chat right now. So if you want to go grab this as I'm chatting about it and start digging around in it, go ahead. If you can follow along if we're doing arts and crafts. I know, or I believe that Ace was talking about potentially putting out an installer that would make putting the overlays together really, really easy. But by and large, a lot of the same things that we experienced last season are still going to be here. We're still going to have our double webcam overlay, which if I can get my cat out of the way, I can look at. There we go. Speaking of cats, we have the orange spaces there for each of the casters' names. We got those black boxes underneath them for social media, whether you use Twitter or you want to link to a personal Twitch channel or whatever. You and your co-caster can decide whatever you want to put in those boxes can go in those boxes. Snail and I have been working really relatively hard, and that's Captain Snail on Discord. Give her some love to put the new box together and the new backgrounds and stuff. And we're pretty excited for the new overlays. I hope that you like orange, and I hope that you like black. So go ahead and hit the next one, Bobo.
One of my favorites.
All right, so this is a little bit washed out on the broadcast. There's a little bit of a texture to that middle box. This is just the basic keys to the game slide. We are relatively following this general format for information slides. There's a blank slide in there that follows the same structure. There's a hexagon texture for the keys, as well as a Bobo chalk texture that looks like a chalkboard if you want to use that in your slides. Kind of busy with patterns. Yeah. So we might be, or rather we intend to, unlike last season, I intend to be releasing variations on the caster slides. The we're doing is a couple different palette swaps. So we're working on a black and orange version like this. We're doing a white and orange version, and flip the black and the orange as well. I might do a couple that are plain, no texture, if there's a lot of demand for that. I'm very, very open to feedback from the casters. Like, I want to make stuff that you guys feel good about using, like to use, and feel like really ups the quality of your broadcast wherever possible. We consider this slide one of the standard slides for the overlay. That being said, though, as a caster hopeful, when you're coming into your first couple casts and you already have a lot on your plate, like here, are there any links and docs for this? Yes, I just put a folder in the caster's private chat on the NGS Discord channel.
Yes, we're gonna pin all of the things.
And pinned it, and it's pinned. They're pinned.
Yes, you will have all of the things. And again, if we're missing a resource that you really feel like we could benefit from, let us know. There should be some things in there already. If they may be outdated too. So I mean, we'll take a look. Listen, this is all just. I mean, it's amazing.
They're there right now.
Once you get the hang, so, I promise you, once you get the hang of this, it will become like second nature. It absolutely will.
Yeah. So back to what I was saying. If you're coming as a caster hopeful and you're doing your first couple casts, and you're really focusing on doing as great a job as possible for your first 6 broadcasts, to impress Bobo, don't feel obligated to include a keys to the game slide or a descriptive slide or anything else for any of the teams that would be stretching yourself or putting too much on your own plate. Just because we include the overlay doesn't mean that you have to absolutely use it, other than the draft screen, the in-game screen, and the webcam border. Why do we need keys to a game that's already released? All right, that's you can go on. Ha ha ha, Cat Peach.
And now the draft screen.
All right, so this is what our new draft screen is kind of look like, and you can see here that Ace was drafting. So I want to talk about the footer because I feel like it is contentious. The reason the footer is here is to block out all of the game features in the bottom right corner of your screen, and also block portions of chat. Included on this overlay is a bit that you can't actually see very well. There is a black box in the lower right that extends and gradients into the background of the swirling space vortex in draft that completely covers chat. So when the teams are ribbing each other in between games, it'll block that out. I know it does not block the mini map in game because it's not used in game. when you go off the screen, it'll no longer be there.
I mean, it's a good spot. Listen, you can always put little things like your Twitch page in there. You could throw text block, info in there as well. There's all. I mean, it's a little bit of blank space for text too, if you want to try to add some things.
Yeah, the plan is to have the division and the game week, and I suppose game number doesn't really count that much, does it? We're not in a tournament,
nope.
So but division and at least which week it is will be. You can include those on the sides should you be so inclined. We like to put up overlays that have a lot of potential space in them for the casters to use. One of the things that I want to touch on really quickly from last season is that when you're in draft, make sure draft is the whole scene. You can include a webcam at the bottom if you really, really want while you're in draft of yourself, but make sure that draft is the entire screen. Just so people who are watching on mobile are able to watch the draft as it's happening. If you minimize it even a little bit to fit a face cam alongside it, as well as the draft overlay and in-game screen, it's just you can't see on mobile. So don't do that this season. One of the other things that we're paying really close attention to is the ratio of team name length to team box name length box size at the top. We might follow the HGC's footsteps and move those down a little bit so we can expand the length of the boxes so we can fit some more longer, more ambitious team names onto the screen. I know right now some of them are either very small or get cut off. Is there a solo caster frame? Yes, it is being worked on. It will be included as soon as it is finished. We have a lot of very long team names here in the NGS, and looking forward in future seasons, we will likely put some restrictions on team length name just because it is very, very hard both on the website and on the production overlays to fit some of these team lengths on onto the screens without making them either like 5-point font, turning them all into acronyms or anything else like that. Yeah, like first like Gazlo, GG, AF, or AFK, whatever their full team name is. I can't even remember because I use their acronym. But yeah, so this is what draft is going to look like in general. If you have strong feedback, you can go ahead and DM it to me or say it in the chat. I'm always, like I said, happy to talk about it and see if I can reach something that you're happy to use and proud to use as a caster. Go ahead and hit the next one, Bobo. Moving through these pretty quickly.
The tease.
Oh, this is an old favorite that includes the tease. So this is the match summary screen, which is in the zip. What's not in the zip is this little prediction thing. The prediction thing is actually part of cartography. You could pull it off as a manual cast. It's just going to be extremely difficult.
You would have to be
to do
quite
so.
a wizard.
You could just hide the sources. You could split it all up and hide the sources. So that won't be there. It'll be part of cartography though, and leads me to talk about both how good I am at Gaul and the rolling development that we'd like to use here in the NGS during the season. So as the months go on, or as the weeks go on, not months, we will continue to put out new updates. Like I said, those color palette swaps, maybe some flatter versions without as much texture, updates to cartography in the API so we can add some more features and continue to increase our broadcast quality. So one of the very first ones that I'm looking at adding is a little production or prediction slider. Maybe get a spot there for the caster, the co-caster, and Twitch chat to vote on who they think is going to win. Yeah, it should be pretty good. I know there are a couple other more robust API features coming.
We're gonna play with toys. We're gonna play with our toys.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of toys to play with, and they will be coming. But patience for everybody involved. We are still a relatively small developmental team, so it takes us a while to identify what you guys really want, how best to accomplish it, and then actually go and do it. So you can tell when he looks at the other monitor. Yeah, I can.
And stuff like this, such as the prediction boxes, we're going to try to push that out in what will turn into our game of the week. And I know some people have questions on that. We can save some for later. But the game of the week, we are going to choose a night, one that is not going to be in conflict with either the open div or with HGC. So we're looking at the Wednesday, Thursday window, and then maybe if the weekends are free, we can also do something in there. But what we're going to look to do for game of the week is incorporate everything that we can: our creative team, our production team, our use of cartography. We're going to try to pair up, or we will pair up, our veteran casters with casters, co-casters. If we have special guests, for instance, if we get lucky enough that maybe somebody comes along and wants to cast an NGS game with us, we'll go ahead and we will use them to employ a full caster team, which will include an observer. And the other thing that we are going to work on is an analyst desk for this game, so that we have a third person who can provide a little bit of insight and reflection at the beginning, in between maps, and then at the end. So we'll try to do some different things, but I believe this leads us into cartography
As a whole. Yep.
which is the domain of the production manager 7 days.
Welcome to my domain. All right. So,
Emperor Ace the Seventh.
as absolutely. So once again, we'll be using cartography going into season 5. We got very positive feedback, especially after the playoffs, by both the casters, the people running behind the scenes, and by the people watching. They're really impressed with how everybody did. So if you were part of the playoffs or even helped in any way, appreciated. Again, we'll continue using it, and we're going to continue to roll out new features throughout the year. We're going to be adding a lot of the stuff you've just seen and even more, but it takes time to develop. It takes a lot of time for both Crow to make the overlays, the fantastic uh, designs. It takes time for Quantaka to implement some of the API features if they so require it. So just takes a little bit of time to get everything knocked out, but we will be rolling things out through the season, including the predictions, the bottom bar, integration with Stats of the Storm, and all this stuff. Yeah, and yes, appreciative to
yeah.
the patrons and Arc who are make us able to do all of this.
Yeah.
Praise be to that.
And if you have watched either of the 2 off-season tournaments, many of our casters were using this tool. I think in both the semis and the finals of both off-season tournaments, we use cartography. It just allows for a really great level of control. It allows for control over a person's OBS remotely, so that our casters can actually start to take their hands off the keyboards and let production help them get through this so that they can keep the focus on their jobs, which is talking and saying those sweet, sweet words. So again, we actually, I honestly think that in a pinch, we could go ahead and we could use cartography and a whole bunch of different things and roll out a game of the week immediately. But we're going to work on ensuring that whomever is chosen for the cast has a checklist to work off of. There's procedures. It's all laid out in front of them, and that there's enough time for them to go ahead and get prepared. And I think I might have actually deleted, but I will say that the administrative team has decided that the caster for our first game of the week will be Graysville, and then we will figure out who is going to be joining him as a co-caster and who will be joining him on the analyst desk. And we will be sure to have the best damn observer in the business, and Philindrath, he will be there as well to be our eye in the sky. And again, we're always going to look to rotate people in. I know that people are wondering how are we going to determine which game it's going to be. I'm going to keep a log of it, and we're going to get to as many divisions as possible. Later in the season, we may run double headers. If we have a free weekend, we may run a weekend game as well, sometime where we feel like we have another opportunity to put out a really good cast. But we're going to make sure that the participants for our game of the week, both as a production team and as the teams that are actually playing, is done in an equitable fashion. We'll do a heroic game. We'll do a Div D game. We'll do East Coast. We'll do West Coast. We'll make sure that we don't repeat teams as well. We want to make sure that this is a really cool opportunity, to go ahead and get, again, a full production team with cartography and knock it out of the park, man. You got anything else for Cart?
Well, absolutely, actually. We just got, within the last 10 minutes, as this meeting's been going on, Arc has come to me with some really cool news that we'll be able to get cartography out to a significantly larger number of casters, and he will tell you all about that right now.
He snuck in.
Did he really?
Hey everybody, it is me. I am here. I do have very good news. For Court Jester over at Cartography, we have had a long discussion, and for those of you who want your own cartography link, you can subscribe to his Patreon for $5 a month. That's how much we pay for our own links that we rotate through everybody. Now there are some caveats to that. We will prove who it is because we are giving you access to our assets. You will pay the $5 and have your own link just for you. So if you're interested in it, let Bobo know, and he will kind of do a vetting process as we work that out. And then also, with that being said, like I said, we're giving you access to all of our assets that we have already paid for to be produced in cartography, which is definitely a pretty penny. If you want anything personal added to your own instance of cartography, you will have to pay for that yourself, and you'll also have to get it approved via Bobo and 7 days, because we're already giving you access to our branding and all the work that we have paid to be done in cartography. So we can't have everybody just being like, hey, I'm going to do whatever I want with the overlays that you guys already paid for. Obviously, we have our own branding and marketing reputation we need to uphold. So that's what we're looking at. We haven't ironed out exactly how that's going to go yet. But if you're interested in getting your own cartography link just for you, please message Bobo, and we will start figuring out how we're going to vet and make sure that everyone is good to go on it, and figure out how we can knock it out. Because I know a lot of you enjoy using it and you love the production value it brings to your stream. And, it kind of helps you build your consumer base a little bit on stream, your follower base. So I thought it'd be really neat if we could get that to you guys. So that's the breaking news update. We will work on our end on how we're going to do it exactly, but I hope you guys are looking forward to it.
That's awesome. All right. Again, cartography is going to be used as our primary tool as part of a casting team for, again, outside events and for the playoffs. We want to use cartography as much as possible because we do hope, again, to have a number of really cool API features. We hope to be able to update graphics and some overlays and do some different things. So cartography will help just make us look a lot more official,
Hey, and if you have any ideas, this guy Bobo here, he came to us during the playoffs and was like, hey, I need these scenes. Can we make this happen? And we got together, got the scenes working, and got it hooked up for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we want to make it for you. It is your tool as a casters to use. We've all casted and know what kind of you want, but if you want to try out a new idea or say, what if we could do this? Like putting standings on a screen, which we want to do.
Yeah.
But
standings.
We'll figure it out.
Like last,
we want to do it all.
I mean, last season I did.
If you
rosters.
have any ideas,
I mean, there was again, like I just want to be honest. Like we are always taking feedback. Please let us know. Ideas are cool.
If you want to try something out, we want to give you the creativity and the room to be able to try it out. So go for it. Let us know in the casters channel if you want anything and try it out.
All right. Moving towards the end of our discussion, we're going to go over some tips and tricks before we touch on the questions and before we open things up. It's just some things that we've gathered over time. Most of these things do come courtesy of our friend hanging out there in the upper right corner. Hi, Baha. God, always run an audio-visual check. Always, always, always. Please hit the record button on your OBS. Play it back. Try to go through your scenes as well. Make sure that everything fits and make sure that you know where to press your buttons. Do this before every cast. We know because we're, as casters that have been around for a while that have really tried to add scenes and tried to push what they can do. You're always adding different things in there, and you need to make all those checks on, how different sources wind up linking up and whether or not things are going to go ahead and work for you. One thing from last season, I always sent a quick message to teams beforehand. Like, I just let them know, hey, this is my Twitch page. I'm going to be casting for you guys. Please meet me, in the CoinFlip lobby at this time. Just reach out to people. I also personally use like in-game chat channels, and the NGS channel is there for lobby links as well. Try to reach out to teams, and again, definitely every time you cast a team, you should just send them your Twitch link if you want to build up followers. It's the easiest way. Our teams are always just really appreciative of just having the opportunity to be casted. This one came from 7th. Don't stretch the text for sizing. Please. Adjust the font size. Things wind up getting pixelated, broken, and ugly. And it doesn't look good. One tip from Bahamut himself. I remember this one from last season. Use the scroll wheel to move the camera, no directional arrows. So if you have the observer overlay on and you're in there just refereeing, if you click and hold down your scroll wheel, it is a much smoother camera than using the directional arrows, which of course everybody can hear you slamming on in the heat of battle. Get used to it. It's different. Felindrith, at some point during the season, will also probably start dropping hints and tips about how he does what he does. There are different hotkeys within the LA Observer interface and within the game itself that allow you to give a much more professional feel to it. And, you know, even though you don't have to know all of them, listen, just knowing a couple of tricks with the camera will just elevate your game. This one is always a fun one. Skype is better than, actually, I find, and some people actually find this to be not the case at all. I find that Skype gives you a better video picture quality when you are trying to capture a co-caster and their webcam. However, Skype does all kinds of crazy stuff. The Skype app that comes with Windows is terrible. If you try to mute yourself and your co-caster on Skype, Skype still has a setting, I think it's within like Tools audio settings, that will change your volume levels in Discord and on OBS, and will just grab a hold of things. If you're going to use it, get practice, do audio-visual checks. And that really goes for any program that you're going to use that is going to involve your audio settings or your video settings while you are streaming. A lot of webcams actually have a microphone on them, and a lot of times people forget to disable the webcam microphone, and it interferes with what you're trying to do on your mic. Always take a peek. What else we got? Learnability names. No QWE. Gina doesn't throw Q. She throws a frostbolt. ETC doesn't Q. He power slides. Learn them. Please. It'll make you sound better. You can always take shortcuts. I mean, listen, everybody knows. A lot of teams just want to show up, press R, and win the video game. But if you're trying to get a little bit more detailed, just try to, make sure you have everything on hand. If a hero's out of the meta, try to brush up on him a little bit. That'll help you out as well. Finally, on the first page here, shameless self-plug. Yeah, listen to Nexus now. So on episode 3, when we had Gillyweed on, we split that interview up with a couple of different points. We just wanted to open the conversation up with some casual questions. We did get to talking about HGC, but we spent a lot of that interview asking her about the art of casting and how she goes about her job. And it's super important for people that are just trying to get into it and just want some more basic level tips. Like, she knows what she's doing. She's a professional. And she was kind enough to grace us with her knowledge in this podcast. And there's a lot of great things in there. Just have a listen. There will be Dread. I might freak out if there will be Dread. Oh, no, there is Dread. Hi, Dread. A couple more points here. Listen, do your research and have a few talking points. I will go into this over the course of the season. I use Stats of the Storm, and I use whatever scouting I can to get an idea about the teams that I am about to cast. Obviously, a little more difficult in the beginning of the season, but once you have a couple of games under your belt, you can use Stats of the Storm to look at individual teams, find out what kind of maps they like to play, find out what kind of heroes they like to play, find out what their results are. You can come up with some just very rudimentary numbers to start painting a picture. You can also look at individual players, see who's popping off. You can get information about a division as a whole as well, and try to figure out, well, does this division just play with a little wonky meta? Are these guys just all running Lucio because it's overpowered in this division? Well, maybe they are. You don't know. The game looks very different from Storm than it does even just a few divisions away in Div B. And we know that our friends down in Div D and Div E play by their own set of rules. And they do some awesome, crazy stuff. So try to be prepared for it. And again, use Stats of the Storm. The guide's up. Take a look at it. It's amazing. One thing I did mention before, please don't book triple headers. I like booking double headers. I feel like it lets you engage with your audience for a little bit longer. But whenever you are booking a game, assume the round is going to take 90 minutes. Always assume somebody's going to be late. Assume somebody's going to spill a drink on the router. Always assume that it's going to take you a little while and that you're going to need to break in between games to get set up. I thought I will answer your question very shortly. That's an important one. Thank you for asking that. Now, tip from Baja. When raiding, send the command when there is about 30 seconds left of your 2-minute delay. It syncs up very nicely. Looks nice and pro. And we like when people use the host command rather than auto host, because as casters, we like it when we see that Murda is hosting us with X number of viewers, or we like seeing a caster hopeful that's bringing their audience to our stream. It's a mental note, and we also always look to return in kind. It just helps bring the crew up, man. what's the difference between raid and host? Well, that's a complicated one. I'm going to let chat handle that.
Yeah, raid sends your chat into their chat.
Yes. And if your chat defeats them, it pillages their village and takes all of their supplies for the winter.
And women.
Listen.
Some
there was a Streamlabs.
I have two.
I was gonna say there was a Streamlabs question there. Streamlabs OBS does not work with cartography. However, Streamlabs OBS did, as of season 4, add a stream delay function, which I believe was not there previously. So if you like Streamlabs OBS, you can continue using it for just your basic regular season cast. But when we get to the points, especially later in the season, in the playoffs and whatnot, when we're looking to use cartography, you will have to switch back to OBS. Sorry, Crow, as you were saying.
I have two more tips before the super general. One of them is pretty general, which is just something that I learned very quickly: is always have some water nearby.
Yes.
You're gonna spend an hour talking nonstop. You're gonna want the hydration for yourself, especially in games, setting up the other lobbies. If your computer's like mine, it puts out a lot of heat, so it gets kind of hot if you have lighting. So don't forget to grab anything you might want during the cast. Water, notebook, pen, pencil, anything, and have that nearby, so you don't have to like get up and abandon the desk during your cast. And the second one is something that I started doing that I really, really loved partway through last season, which is I would do custom double headers where I would pick up a replay. People ask to have the replays cast if a caster is unable to make it when the game happens live. And so I would very, very frequently grab a replay cast and then go straight into a live game and do my own double header, my own schedule, get a chance to warm up, get into the flow of things, get comfortable, make sure we get more games cast overall, everyone's happy, and then go straight into a live one with the audience we have, and it's a pretty good time. So if you want to have the double header experience and are struggling to schedule them as only in live games, pay attention to that cast on replay channel and see what you can pick up.
There was actually a question in the document about replays. Let me take a look, I believe. So the question here in the document: what system is in cast to cast replays? There is a channel, Cast My Replay. Who has priority? Whoever grabs it. Can you cast a replay even if someone has casted it already? That's so strange. That's a great question because I just hadn't thought about it. I almost don't mind. But
so we allowed it last season.
Yeah.
But it almost never comes up just because there are so many games.
Yeah.
Like, if you're worried, if you're here as a new caster, hopefully worried about there not being enough games for you, there will be enough games for you.
And I do see.
Just give it a week and a half.
Yeah, it's gonna fill up. People worry, is it gonna be enough? There's always. I mean, we're up to 108 teams. There's gonna be a few games. BKI wants to know: do replay casts count towards your casting requirement? I am actually going to say not quite. And the reason is because I have to make sure that your internet can handle the stress of casting. You can always grab replays as a caster hopeful, but as part of your path to be a full-fledged caster, I have to know that your system can handle the ability to cast. Okay? That is super critical. If you're dropping 25% of your frames on a live cast, that's a problem. If you can't output at the right set, it's a problem. If your internet is cutting out and you're just having huge swaths wiped out, it's a problem. In fact, last season I had an issue where I was, again, dropping like 15% of my frames, and I just had to walk away from some games and get my ISP upgraded. Like, it's something I had to do. I did not feel like casting with that much lag and with that poor of a picture was representative of my work as a caster, nor did I think it was fair to the teams that were involved. So I do want that to be a part of it. Murda has a great point in chat there. Also, casting a replay does not involve getting comfortable with making lobbies, hosting a coin flip, and moderating a chat. Quite true. The last bit here on tips and tricks. Again, we do have some tools. Again, Stats of the Storm. Check the pinned messages to go ahead and check out the tutorial. Also in there are the Anki flashcards, which are kind of neat. A lot of people need to brush up on talents and different abilities, and also those flashcards, correct me if I'm wrong, do have some stats on them, so they may have like cooldowns and numbers and whatnot. again, a good resource. And when I say Streamlabs tools, again, yes, you can use slobs just for your regular cast, but there are other Streamlabs tools. A lot of people don't know that that's how you customize your Twitch alerts through Streamlabs. They also have the Streamlabs chatbot, which is a far superior way than trying to look over on your side and just see this tiny little chat window here from Twitch and a giant screen that you don't need to look at. Sometimes people do things in your chat and they post things that you don't want there, and you need to delete them from it. Even though they are very artistic, they're inappropriate and they don't belong. Wink, wink, wink. All right, so we'll do some open forum for the questions. I'm going to start with the caster meeting questions, and then I will also start by talking about pre-scheduling once again at the end of these questions. They do involve some other people here. Will there be a role specifically for production and observers? And I would throw that one over to the production manager, 7 Days. Is he here? I hope I didn't draw him.
Yes,
Hey!
However, he was reading Twitch chat and
I know.
Needs to be reminded of the question.
Yeah.
Because I'm making sure that everything's good.
What I was going to do, we definitely will talk about the production ones first. Thank you for being in chat. So there are actually two questions. Okay. Will there be a role specifically for production and observers and/or?
Yes, that is currently implemented. If you are interested in being a production or observer person, put it in the caster sign-up channel, and I will get you hooked up with that. We have a production channel that we've been using to discuss cartography, observing, stuff like that. It's pretty empty, but Philindrith is there, and he'll basically tell you everything you need.
The second question that's production related. What sort of system will be in place for casters to request co-casters, observers, and producers? Co-casters, again, see the co-caster channel. And if you are interested in being a co-caster, remember you have a slightly different set of requirements. Just jump in on forecasts. Let me know what they are. Send me the links, and I will go ahead and get you squared away on that part. From my perspective as the head caster, observers and producers. I mean, if someone offers themselves up, it's first come first serve. We're going to certainly use people of that ilk for the game of the week and for the playoffs. But I mean, Seventh, do you have anything to add to that with what will be your team? It's a good question, but it might be just kind of early. We need the people first.
Yeah, yeah. That's more of it. Is a lot of these infrastructure things are new, and we just need to gauge the interest, figure out who's what kind of interest there is, who's interested,
yes,
and work from there to work with the people more specifically.
Yes. And next question. In the rulebook, you note as in-game referees, casters are responsible for running the coin flip and upholding hero, skin, and mount bans. So this is a change, but I understand if people are going to miss it. Before we had just said, let the captains figure it out. Well, you guys are referees. You guys have experience with these sort of things, and also you can see things that captains will also oftentimes miss, okay? So we want to empower you to make those calls and to know the hero skin and mount bans. Because, listen, the draft is ripping off fast. These heroes are not up for very long. Somebody might just have a skin. And also, when the game begins and you have that 30-second period, you may notice, holy heck, 2 of those people are running around in the invisible horse. Well, why not just stop the game there and force them to remake rather than, wait? Because if you wait, what's going to wind up happening is the game is going to start, the teams are going to come together, and then someone's going to say, that's a banned mount, and then you're going to go, okay, are we going to allow this or are we not? And then you just might get caught. So again, we want to empower you guys to know the rules and enforce them and help out. There are also a lot of new teams, a lot of new players. People, listen, no matter how many times we pin it, and slam it down their throats, people are just not going to know the rules. You have to know the rules as a caster. You interact with them more often than players do. So again, try to be empowered for that. Is there a rule on Twitch notifications during a broadcast? I don't mind if it's up for everything but draft and in-game. Because every time somebody gives you a follow, gives you a sub or donation, you absolutely want to interact with them and give them a shout out. I'm okay with that. But once you get into draft and in-game, turn them off. Come back. That's why, listen, I always have my Streamlabs dashboard open because it's going to tell me who's followed, who's subbed, so I can try to call them out. We want you guys to interact with your viewers, build a fan base. and start moving up the Twitch ladder, 100%. So it would be a problem if I, again, denied that during a broadcast. We may come back later in the season if we see that it's a problem. We may just say, hey, listen, turn it down, turn the sound off, hide it, keep it in the corner. Maybe it's off during the playoffs. It's probably not going to be something that we'll have on certainly during Game of the Week. That'll be here on the NGS page. So, but for now, I'm okay about it. Just keep it tucked away. Let me know. Hey, thanks. Thanks for following me. Cool. Okay. The last question here. Again, we'll move to pre-scheduling again to talk about this afterwards. I know that's been the big one. No caster may hold the right to exclusively cast any specific team's games, including but not limited to NGS playoffs and outside events. So what if a team is requesting you to cast them? Okay. We've dealt with this for many seasons, and this is the point, the official statement. We cannot police and we will not police your DMs. We know that teams will ping people and say, hey, can you cast my game? We can't stop that, okay? It happens to me. It happens to all of our casters. Please cast my game. That being said, all games are open claim. Whoever gets them first, gets them first. The other part of this rule that I want to reinforce is that no one can deny you a claimed game because they say that somebody wants them to cast. When that game is on the schedule and when it is picked up, it is picked up. I will not have casters fighting over games. That's just silly. It's unprofessional. Not going to happen. Okay? And in the playoffs and for outside events, later in the playoffs, in the early part of the playoffs, we're going to have so many games it will likely be open or, I don't know, guided in some way. I mean, again, there's going to be a ton of games. But late in the playoffs, I am going to do my best to assign casters. And when I say assign casters, I will make sure that everybody gets an opportunity. It's not going to just be one person working an entire division or an entire coast. And then for outside events, I really like the way that Murda had things done, where the schedules were laid out for casters. So, we don't really have a procedure right now for how that works with our tournaments. So I just wanted to put that in there because we may determine that, that sort of one tricking is not allowed. But again, no one can just come into the league and say, I'm the caster for team blah blah, I get all of their games. No, you don't. It goes on the schedule, and then it gets claimed. Keep in mind also, that's part of the reason why I put that rule in there that casters cannot schedule games for teams, because that would allow you to perform that one tricking pretty darn well. All right, before we turn it over to Twitch chat, we'll talk again about pre-scheduling. And actually, we can actually talk about it as the schedule is coming out this week. The first 2 weeks of the season are the first round. And what we said was you can pre-schedule a number of games for each round. So when the schedule goes up and teams are booking games, right, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if you were to book a game for the first week in Heroic or Storm, that would count against your cap for pre-schedules. Okay? Because you are scheduling it the week before it is due to be played, right? And then during the first week of the season, when teams are still going to be scheduling games, because we're not going to get two full weeks scheduled. It's not going to happen. It's impossible, right? So during the first week of play, you may pre-schedule games for Storm and Heroic for week number 2. Those first 2 weeks are a round, and that is your allowance of games, whether it was 7 for a veteran or 5 for a regular caster, okay? And then again, just to keep reiterating, during the week, when the week starts on Monday, games are open. Claim what you can. We just want to we want to make sure that we don't impose a maximum on our casters, but we want to make sure that there is an opportunity for everyone to go ahead and grab some of these games and prove that they are worthy of casting at the highest levels of NGS. Again, I will keep working with people. Listen, things are going to happen where people are going to have too many games. Early in the season, I will let you know, hey, you went over your limit. If it keeps happening, I'm just going to wipe the games at the end of the week, just so I don't disrupt your schedule in the early part of it. Yes, as Crow says in chat, pace yourselves. Like, take a look at, our most popular casters are casters that did a lot of games last season. Murd and I did a ton of games, but we only did half the number of games as Bahamut, And I'm sure as Baja will attest, there were plenty of games to be grabbed. There's a ton out there. We want you guys also go to every division, make friends everywhere, learn something. Try to pick. If you find a team that you like and you interact with and you're friendly with them and they follow you and they sub to you, try to stay with them a little bit. Try to learn their division. Try to learn the teams that they're playing with. Cast for them too. Maybe at the end of the season, a division has gotten to know you as a whole and they really would like you to do their playoff games. I will listen to that. And it's also fun. Anecdotally, a lot of games at Storm are boring as hell. Somebody gets one kill, they turn that into a level 10 advantage, and then they just snowball the game. Well, my favorite games sometimes involve things like double Nazebo and accidental C-Smash variants and Samaros and even the Murkies. Sample out. Dip your toes in a whole bunch of different waters. Again, it will greatly also increase your amount of followers and your viewership. Yeah. Div D last season had Juice Pirates for the first couple weeks. Those are fun. Those are crazy. You can go a little ham in those games. The juice was loose. Okay. That pretty much does it for what I have here in the slides. I will go ahead and post the slideshow, there in the channel chat. But now, Twitch, what have you guys got for me? Questions, anything that I missed, anything that we had to note? Anything that we did not address or needs to be clarified? One thing that we have talked about as an admin team this season, I'm sitting here waiting for questions, is that NGS has long been a place where this is a volunteer cast force. If you show up, if you can cast, if you have OBS and your computer can do it, cool, man. Just please grab some games, please show our people off. We're moving this towards the idea that casting for NGS is a privilege, man. We get people to affiliate faster than any other way that you can in HOTS. We are going to unlock that sub button in 2 weeks. We're going to help you out. We're going to get you out there. But we need you to do a good job. We need to make sure that, casters are not wallflowers. They're doing a good job. They have a personality, but they're still doing everything that, would be required of them if they were a player. Oh, I see Dunkstick. Yeah. Dedicated observers. Yeah. Listen, if somebody wants to observe for you, we are not going to take anything away from our casters. That would just be wrong. If this person would like to observe for NGS, send me a DM. Like I said, I'm not going to take them away from you if you guys want to work together. But if they want to have the opportunity to work on our games of the week, they want to work on the playoffs, we would absolutely love to have them. Opportunity is always there. Twitch chat, what else do we have? Oh, let's see. I'm just flipping through a little bit. Was there anything we didn't answer? Taking a look around. Snake says, yeah, keep in mind since the season has more fluid week scheduling, there will be a lot of last-minute schedules. Yes. Always have something there. Murdo, will you ban? Yeah, I will. Even though you're a moderator. Dreadnought, is it okay if I be biased and hope the team that picks Space Goat Waifu to win? You can profess your love for Urel as much as you would like.
I believe that question overall, though, is...
Keep it objective.
Urel.
Yeah, got him.
Got him with the team name.
That's the first... Is that the first irrelevant joke of the year? Is that the first?
Could be. Except the guys who signed up with the team name irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, but you beat him to the stream, brother.
All right.
Have like I said, have fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever style you want to have. A lot of our casters are so wildly different. And also, I encourage you guys, if you're new to this and you want to take a little while trying to get everything set up, just check out our casters that are casting at night and take notes from good ones. Ones that you enjoy. Like I said, our casters are all individual people and they're all wildly different. Cat Peach, will there be consideration of having an observer role in the Discord for people who want to observe for others? Yes, it'll be part of production. 7th, we'll go ahead and figure that out. That's such a cool role. I've already talked to Felindrith. I know that Fal is going to work on trying to help people out if they are interested in doing so. We'd love to have observers. It's, again, just an awesome role and is always much appreciated. Please, he's all on the games. He'll get some of them. 7th briefly said a lottery for cartography. Kind of little words. It depends on what the demand is, right?
I did. So
It's going to be interesting.
So we have 4 free, quote unquote, free cartography instances that we can use. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those just go out every day. I can say, hey, you're on NGS 1 tonight. Hey, you're on NGS 2 tonight. And as long as I know that they've been practicing and can use cartography, they'll get that for the day. However, again, that's pretty random, and you're not always going to have that.
But
if you want to have your own, you do the thing where you submit it through us and then subscribe to Jester's Patreon, and we'll get that to you.
Yes, but again, it is available every day, and if you ping either 7th or myself, we, like I said, we want to make sure that everybody that wants to try to use this tool has the opportunity to do so. It is, like I said, it is required for certain special events and whatnot, but not during the regular season. And it's, once you get the hang of it, once you understand how it works and how it controls your OBS, it's very simple. And we hope, especially, we had people who were talking about dedicated observers and production teams. The beauty of cartography, again, is that with a little bit of rehearsal and direction, casters can take their hands off of the keyboard. They can see everything in front of them through their OBS window and just let somebody help them move along. They will be blessed with magical overlay elves, and their show will improve greatly. Any caster hopefuls who are nervous, I'm happy to run through some replays with you. Yeah, Cat Peach went from being queen of the co-casters to casting for Heroes Hype to casting for NGS. You can move very quickly. I actually, I don't know if I should say this. I started casting in Season 4. I got the hang of it pretty quick. I do still mess up occasionally. It wouldn't be a Bobo cast without missing pressing a button. I just like to consider that part of my charm, actually. But you can work your way up with dedication and by paying attention. And again, we will always look to make sure that everybody has opportunities here in NGS.
Yeah, I believe Murda is casting for Open Division now, along with a couple of others.
Baja's on the list.
Bahamut.
Ghost Dunk's on the list. Fear is. We're hoping that Fear from Heroes Hype will cast some games for us. I believe I saw him in chat. Maybe. That's a really cool, different setup. Those are the 7-hour marathons late at night. NGS is obviously a heck of a lot different. But if you, again, it just goes to show that if you do a great job for NGS, maybe you can cast for Blizz Heroes. I don't see too many more questions. I hope everything was clarified. And again, the rulebook is live. If you have questions about the rulebook, you don't quite understand something, let me know. I will edit the rulebook as needed and let you guys know if whatever changes we make. And again, everything in that rulebook can be discussed as a group at length, and it can be changed if we feel like we would all benefit from it. This is a multi-layered relationship, and I want to get all up in those levels, from caster to headcaster, and from headcaster to admin, and all right back on down. Okay. Like I said, anybody have anything else? Before Bobo the Dictator, it's Pope Bobo Snag. You will refer to me as the infallible one. Thank you. Were the full details of scenes discussed? No. We did not grab every single one of the scenes. They put themselves together when you pull the zip package. Or do we just build them with the resources? Yeah. Listen, Crow and company have made these. They're great. They work so simply when you just go ahead, throw them into OBS. In fact, I'm going to go ahead. Let's go pull these up. And there are some blank slides that you can play with, and you can add different things. For instance, last season, Murda was playing around with instant replay. That was something that was really cool that you can do if you've got the rig to handle it. Last season, I usually started my casts off by taking a blank slide and showing what teams had done in the previous games. I tried to show rosters. Late in the season, I tried to copy the heck out of HGC. I actually was running a 30-second audio clip from the captains over a highlight just to, hey, let them have a word. Whatever it is you can come up with. Again, there are blank slides in there so that you can play around and still keep things, linear and NGS branded. I'm trying to think what else is in here. Got the draft blank. It's all pretty basic. Keep it nice and simple when you are building your scenes. Otherwise, you will miss buttons and you will, break links on images and things like that, and it will start to get super complicated. Yes, and ask questions in Caster Discord. Right now, my job is incredibly boring. There isn't really a whole lot going on. You better take advantage of it now before they move me on to the next project. What else did I put? Oh, I did put in the caster pin, there's like a OBS master tutorial. It's a video series. It can explain things way better than I can. You only really need the first couple episodes, and that will help you out a lot. It'll help you with setup. It'll help you change things such as your bit rate and your output, which may be part of the problem. You may need to drop things like such as your resolution and your bit rate because you don't quite have the internet connection. So again, that masterclass, I forget who exactly it was, but again, it's in the pins. It'll talk about audio. It'll talk about video. It'll talk about scenes and sources and scene collections. So check it out there. There's no auto setup. No, there is not. Use the research to build. Yes, Cody. That is what you have to do. Also, I can't remember. Well, not quite the elephant. Play around, man. You can always remember that you can also run a test stream in one of two different ways. You could just stream with just a blank title as a test. There also is a way to add a suffix onto the end of your stream key so that your streamer will run, but it will not be published. That'll help. That'll help you out if you just want to go ahead and run it yourself and take a peek at what you are doing. There are ways to run test streams privately. Google it. Any other tips and tricks? You'll probably hear over the course of the season that a number of us use Elgato Stream Decks. The Elgato is not compatible with cartography, but it is an amazing life-changing device that will help you power through streams with just a couple of clicks of your fingers without having to go back to the keyboard. If you have questions about the Elgato, ask away. It is a little expensive. I think they usually are $150. We've seen them on sales for like $100 or something like that. Yeah, they do have a baby Stream Deck too. It's a really cool tool, and what it does is it allows you to flip through a ton of features in OBS. And again, just with pushing buttons instead of multi keystrokes or having to use your mouse. But it is a bit of a commitment. It's not an inexpensive purchase. There's a lot of resources, and a lot of us have experience with it as well. So if you do feel like you are going to go down that alley, we recommend the Elgato Stream Deck. All right, I'm going to give like 30 seconds. And after 30 seconds, I think I'm going to kill this. So again, last chance to get some questions in. Use the Caster private channel as well. And when the schedule goes up, I will certainly send out another ping. I will be here to answer questions about the schedule. I expect it to be combative in the first few seasons. I expect to see a ton of games picked up. And I expect to see all of you guys broadcasting soon. This is going to be really cool. I hope I promote scores of caster hopefuls to casters, and I hope we get as many games as possible. I want to get as close to 100%, even though that's obviously impossible, as possible. Let's get at it, team. Hype it up. Yes, HogChamp. Thank you, Cat Peach. Murda, thank you, Swing. Thank you. Again, I look forward to working with all of you guys. Best of luck, and I will catch you out there in Season 5 starting up next week.